We boarded together. Row 26, seats A and B, back of the plane. Red-eye from Miami to Chicago. We were flying home from a friend's wedding. I was exhausted, still a little buzzed, and mostly just grateful I didn't have to sit next to a stranger. We'd booked the seats weeks ago. Window for him, aisle for me. I remember joking when we got on the plane. "Don't pass out on me this time." He grinned, tossed his hoodie over his head and said, "Only if you hog the armrest again." Takeoff was smooth. Seatbelt signs off within 10 minutes. He pulled his hood tighter and dozed off. I watched some documentary on coral reefs. Totally mindless. The kind of background noise that helps you forget you're trapped in a metal tube 6 miles above the earth. About an hour into the flight, he nudged me. "Gonna hit the bathroom." I stood up, let him out. He shuffled down the aisle, half asleep, hoodie still over his head. I waited. 5 minutes. 10. 15. It doesn't take 15 minutes to use the bathroom on a plane, especially not when everyone else is either asleep or plugged into headphones. I stood, peeked toward the back. Both lavatory doors were open. No line. No one inside. I flagged the nearest flight attendant. Short, mid-40s, perfect airline smile. "Hey, my friend went to the bathroom a while ago. He hasn't come back." She looked confused. "When did he go?" 15 minutes ago, maybe more. Hoodie, black jeans, about 6'1". Seat 26. She gave me a weird look. "You're seated next to an empty window." "What? You're in 26B, correct?" "Yeah. There's no one listed in 26A." I thought she was joking, or tired, or just didn't understand me. He boarded with me. We checked in together. She frowned, tapped something into her tablet. "You checked in solo." She turned the screen toward me. "My name. Solo reservation. No one else." "That's not right. We picked those seats together. Booked them at the same time." "I understand," she said gently. "Would you like me to check the cabin?" "Yes. Please." She nodded and walked down the aisle. I sat there, trying to calm the rising panic. I remembered our lift to the airport. Him texting me a playlist mid-ride. Us eating overpriced wraps at the gate. We had a whole conversation about how the TSA guy looked like his ex's dad. He was real. I wasn't losing my mind. She came back a few minutes later. I checked the bathrooms, no one matching that description. Maybe he switched seats? There are no open seats that match that name, or that person. I stood up. "I don't care what your system says. He boarded this flight with me." She gave me a careful, practiced look. "Sir, no one remembers seeing him." She motioned toward the other flight attendant, a younger guy this time. "Did you see anyone sitting next to this passenger?" He shook his head. "Number, I think that seat's been empty." They offered to check again. I followed them this time. We went row by row. No hoodie, no black jeans, no confused guy stuck in the bathroom or stretched out across another row. Nothing. I pulled out my phone. I had photos of us at the wedding. Him dancing. Him at the airport. Us in the terminal. I opened the gallery. The photos were there. Just incomplete. In each one, where he should have been, there was blur, motion smears, or empty space where my arm was around nothing. A beer bottle raised in a toast to no one. I opened our text thread. It was gone. I checked my call log. Nothing. No lift receipt with his name. Just me. Alone. I started to spiral. The flight attendants offered water. A blanket. One whispered that sometimes stress can trigger hallucinations. That solo travelers on red-eyes often fall asleep and dream someone was with them. I wasn't dreaming. I knew he was real. I sat back down, pulled the tray table out, and stopped. There were crumbs, a soda ring, a torn corner of a granola bar wrapper I hadn't eaten, all on his side of the tray. He had been there. I buzzed the flight attendant again. "Explain that." She leaned in, eyes narrowing. "We'll clean it when we land." I didn't sleep the rest of the flight. When we touched down, I tried to file a missing persons report. Airport security asked for his ID. I gave them his name. Nothing. No record of that name. No ID. No booking. They pulled footage from the terminal. I watched myself arrive, walk through security, sit at the gate, alone. I never looked to the side, never talked to anyone, never laughed, just sat, quiet, scrolling, waiting. But I remember laughing. I remember him. I still do. I don't know if I dreamed him into being or if something else took him. But sometimes, when I wake up in the middle of the night, I swear I hear a toilet flush, and someone whisper, "Sorry, line was long." I've been on dozens of flights. This one didn't feel different at first. Seat 15, A aisle, no turbulence, no screaming babies. I had noise-canceling headphones and a 5-hour playlist queued up. An hour into the flight, the pilot mentioned we might hit a bit of rough air. That's the phrase they use to keep you from panicking. It's never unexpected vertical drops or violent pressure pockets. It's just a bit of rough air. So I braced. But what hit us wasn't turbulence. It was absence. I can't explain it any other way. 1 second I was watching the clouds out the window, the next, it was like the sky folded inward. The cabin lights flickered. People looked up, confused. The plane dipped, then jolted to the left. My drink jumped out of the cup holder, then silence. Not quiet. Silence. The kind that presses against your eardrums and makes you question if you've gone deaf. My phone dropped its signal. No Wi-Fi, no GPS, no connection. I glanced at the map screen on the seatback monitor. It froze mid-refresh. The little plane icon hovered above some stretch of black nothing. No time remaining. No location. Then the lights dimmed. The cabin was still. Too still. No captain's voice, no flight attendants. Just the occasional nervous cough. The shuffle of someone turning around, checking over their shoulder like someone else might have an answer. Then something even stranger happened. The engines didn't cut, but they sounded wrong. Not slower, not faster, just off. Like they were humming in reverse or underwater. A man across the aisle stood up and walked to the back to find a flight attendant. He never came back. The woman 2 rows in front of me started sobbing quietly into her sweatshirt. Her boyfriend was gripping the armrest so hard his knuckles were white. No one was screaming. That was the weirdest part. We weren't scared yet. We were suspended in this sick, quiet confusion. And then it ended. The lights came back on. The hum of the engines normalized. The screens rebooted. And the pilot came over the intercom. Casual as hell. "Sorry for that patch of turbulence, folks. Should be smooth sailing from here." People looked around like, "That's it?" Then the man who'd gone to the back came sprinting down the aisle. He was pale, sweating, out of breath. "Something's wrong," he whispered. "Something's wrong with the flight crew." Before anyone could react, the monitors finished rebooting, and the flight display came back up. But now the map said we were flying upside down. Literally. The compass was inverted. The orientation of the plane icon had flipped. And the numbers, altitude, pitch, direction, none of them made sense. One guy said, "It's a glitch." Another muttered, "Must be a GPS error." Except I looked out the window, and everything looked normal. Clouds below, sunlight above. But the numbers kept changing. Slowly, deliberately. Like something was trying to correct itself. Or mislead us. People started whispering, trying to get flight attendants to explain. They came down the aisle smiling tight, eyes wide, repeating, "Everything's fine. Please remain seated." Like they were reading off cue cards. I pulled out my phone again. No connection, no signal. And then the woman in the window seat next to me grabbed my arm. "Did you see it?" "See what?" "When we dipped, before the lights cut." I shook my head. "I saw the ocean. We're over Colorado." "Exactly." We weren't even near the coast. I tried to check our path on a third-party app, one I always use when flying. It wouldn't load. Then I remembered the cockpit feed. Some newer planes have a screen that plays footage from the cockpit window. Ours did. And it was on. I looked up and froze. The feed showed clouds, then stars, then something else. Not land, not ocean, not sky, just black. A black so deep it hurt to look at, like a hole in the world. And it pulsed. Once. Like a heartbeat. Then the feed cut out. The screen went black. And the pilot's voice came back over the intercom. But this time, it sounded different. Slower. Almost like it was being played back from a recording. We apologize for the inconvenience. We're experiencing minor disorientation. That word. Disorientation. Not navigation issues. Not equipment malfunction. Disorientation. 11 minutes after it started, the maps returned to normal. GPS resumed. We were back on track, approaching Denver. But the man who'd gone to the back never sat down again. He stayed by the rear galley, eyes fixed on the crew. The woman who saw the ocean kept muttering, "We weren't supposed to see that. We weren't supposed to see that." I asked her what she meant. She just stared ahead. When we landed, we were held on the plane for almost an hour. The crew claimed it was gate availability, but we were the only plane at the terminal. The airline never filed an incident report, but I know what I felt. We lost time, we lost direction, we lost something else. And when we landed, everything looked just right enough to ignore it. But I still wonder, did we land? Or did something else let us go? It was a layover. Denver. 2 hours between flights. I wasn't even supposed to be on this route. My original itinerary got scrambled after a thunderstorm in Dallas. Rebooked. New gate. Different plane. Didn't think much of it. Gate B42 was packed. People everywhere. Kids on the floor. Businessmen on calls. Couples half asleep on each other's shoulders. I grabbed a chair near the window, dropped my duffel at my feet and zoned out. Headphones in, white noise playing. I didn't notice the man until he was already reaching for my bag. It was subtle, smooth, like he'd done it before. I only saw it out of the corner of my eye, the movement, his hand sliding toward the strap like it belonged to him. I kicked the duffel with my foot, pulled one earbud out. "Hey, that's mine." He froze, didn't recoil, didn't run. Just stood there for a second with his hand inches from the bag. Then his eyes flicked to the tag. I keep one of those cheap plastic name tags on all my stuff. White insert, black ink, full name, emergency contact, home airport code. His lips moved silently as he read it. Then, something changed. His whole posture shifted. The tension in his shoulders drained out like water from a cut. He looked up, right into my eyes, and he said quietly, "You shouldn't be here. Not today." I blinked. "Excuse me?" But he was already backing away. Not running, not apologizing. Just walking backward like he didn't want to turn his back to me. Then he melted into the crowd and vanished. I sat there for a full minute, staring down at my tag. My name. Nothing unusual. But the way he said it, like it meant something. The gate announcement blared. Boarding started. I shoved the bag under my arm and walked to the line. Still shaken. Still thinking about what he said. As I handed my ticket over, I glanced back, half expecting to see him watching. Nothing. Flight was normal at first, uneventful, until we hit cruising altitude. I got up to use the bathroom and found the front lavatory occupied, so I waited. A flight attendant passed by, paused, and looked down at my bag. It was tucked under my arm, same as always. But she tilted her head. "Are you sure you're on this flight?" "What?" She stared at the name tag, then at me, then back at the tag. Sorry. Never mind. Weird déjà vu." She walked off. Weird. I got back to my seat, tried to let it go, but it kept eating at me. That guy, the bag, the name. So I opened my phone and searched my name with today's date, just to prove to myself that it was nothing. And I found it. Second result. A news article. Passenger killed in 2021 airport attack identified. Same name, Same spelling, same hometown. But 2 years ago, different airport, same gate. Gate B42. I clicked through. The photo wasn't me, but close enough to make my stomach drop. Short hair, similar build, glasses like mine. Murdered. Wrong place, wrong time. And the headline? Dated exactly 2 years ago today. I shut the phone off. My hands were shaking. The man, the look on his face, the way he said I shouldn't be there. Not today. Like he knew. Like something repeats. I looked around the cabin. Everything looked normal. But something felt off. Passengers were too still. The air was too quiet. No crying kids, no chatter. Just static. I called for the flight attendant again, a different one this time. She leaned in. "Can I help you?" "Yeah, this might sound crazy, but is this flight going to Salt Lake?" She smiled. "Of course." "And today's date?" She paused. "Excuse me? What's today's date?" Another pause. Then, "Sir, are you feeling all right?" "Just answer the question." She smiled tighter. "We'll have someone check on you after beverage service." She walked off. I pulled out my phone again. No signal, no Wi-Fi, no option to reconnect. Like nothing was real anymore. I looked back down at my bag, at the name tag. The ink looked wet. I rubbed it with my thumb. It smudged. Except, I hadn't written it in black. The letters were now red, fresh, still bleeding into the plastic. And underneath my name, someone had written something new. Not my emergency contact, not my home airport. Just 5 words. "You weren't supposed to board."